They say silence is the absence of sound, the pause between noise, the void where words cease to exist. But they are wrong. Silence is not empty, it's alive, roaring with power, pulsing with strength. It is the calm before the storm, the steady hand before the decisive strike. Silence isn't weakness, it is restraint. It isn't surrender, it is dominance. It is the language of those who don't need to shout to be heard. The weapon of those who do not rush to prove themselves, but let the world feel their presence without a single word spoken. Picture this, a crowded room full of voices clamoring to be the loudest, egos battling for space. Then there's one man, quiet, still, watching, listening. His silence cuts through the noise like a blade, sharper than any words could be. The room notices, the chaos slows, and when he speaks, it's like thunder breaking through a restless sky. That's the power of silence. It commands attention, it demands respect, and it terrifies those who don't understand it. But silence is not always calm. It can be fierce, aggressive even. A silent stare can break a man's confidence. A quiet refusal can dismantle an argument. A composed silence in the face of provocation can be more violent than 1,000 shouted words. Silence is not passive. It is active. It is a decision, a weapon, a stance. And the man who masters it becomes untouchable. Think about the moments in your life when silence changed everything. A single look that froze you in your tracks. A pause before devastating news. The silence before an opponent's next move. That silence wasn't empty. It was charged with meaning, with tension, with power. It was the kind of silence that speaks louder than words, that carries more weight than action. It was the silence that defined everything. Now, think about the chaos in this world, people yelling over each other, constantly defending, attacking, proving, shouting. They waste their energy trying to be seen, trying to be heard. But you don't need to join the noise. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your silence is enough. Your calm is enough. Because while they're busy making noise, you're calculating, you're planning. And when the time comes, you'll strike not with words, not with empty declarations, but with actions that speak volumes. Have you ever seen a predator hunt? The lion doesn't roar before it pounces. It moves silently, every step calculated, every movement precise. And when the moment is right, it doesn't waste energy on theatrics. It acts decisively, powerfully. That is the strength of silence. It's not inaction, it's focused, deliberate action. And when you embrace it, you become unstoppable. But silence isn't just about power over others. It's about power over yourself. When the world tries to provoke you, when life throws chaos your way, silence is your shield. It's the space where you breathe, where you think, where you regain control. They will tell you that silence is weakness, that silence is submission, that to stay quiet in a world full of noise is to be invisible, to be forgotten. But let me tell you, this silence is not empty. Silence is not void. Silence is raw power. A storm contained, a fire controlled, a weapon sharper than any blade. Silence is the tool of the strongest among us, and those who master it. They are untouchable. They are unstoppable. In a world consumed by chaos, where everyone is yelling, screaming, clawing for attention, silence cuts through like a sword. It doesn't beg to be noticed. It doesn't plead for approval. It demands respect. It commands authority. The loud ones, they are desperate. They are fragile. They are showing all their cards in the hope that someone will notice them. But the silent ones, they are calm, composed, calculating. They see everything. They miss nothing. They hold their power until the moment it's needed, and when they strike, it's over before anyone even realizes what happened. Imagine standing face to face with someone who doesn't flinch. You're shouting, you're taunting, you're doing everything you can to provoke them, and they give you nothing. No reaction, no fear. Just an unshakable calm that cuts deeper than any words could. That silence, It's terrifying. It's unnerving. And it's the mark of someone who knows their strength, someone who doesn't need to prove it. This is the strength of silence. Restraint in the face of provocation. Control in the face of chaos. The ability to stand your ground without a single word spoken, without a single unnecessary move. The silent ones don't waste energy on noise. They don't squander their focus on meaningless battles. They conserve their strength. They sharpen their edge. And when the time comes, they act with precision, with power, with devastating effect. Silence is not passive. Silence is aggressive. It's the quiet confidence of a predator stalking its prey. A lion doesn't roar before it hunts. It moves silently, every step calculated, every movement deliberate. And when the moment is right, it doesn't hesitate. It strikes with all the power it's been holding back. That's silence. That's control. That's domination. They say actions speak louder than words. But silence. Silence speaks the loudest of all. It's a power most overlook. A weapon in its purest form. A language only the wise understand. In a world that screams for attention, the silent ones hold the real power. The silent ones listen. The silent ones observe. The silent ones act only when it matters. Silence isn't about weakness or submission. It's about restraint. It's about standing in the storm and not letting it break you. When chaos surrounds you, when people provoke you, when situations beg for a reaction, the silent man doesn't react. He calculates. He listens. He prepares his strike. When the moment is right. You've seen it, haven't you? The person who stays quiet in the heat of battle. The one who doesn't rise to taunts or lash out when pushed. The one who holds steady when the world around them is falling apart. That's not apathy. That's not fear. That's power. Power isn't in shouting. Power isn't in proving a point. Power is in restraint. In silence, you find the space to think clearly. You find the clarity to understand not just your opponent, but yourself. You don't waste energy on meaningless fights. You don't waste words proving yourself to those who don't deserve it. You wait, and when the time is right, you make your move. And when you move, the world notices. The silent ones understand a profound truth. Words are cheap. In a world where everyone wants to speak, to be heard, the silent ones stand apart. They speak less, but when they do, their words carry weight. Their words hit harder because they are rare. Their words cut deeper because they come from a place of thought, not impulse. Their silence is louder than the noise of others. And that's why they command respect. That's why they are feared. That's why they win. But make no mistake, silence doesn't mean absence of aggression. It doesn't mean passivity. True aggression is controlled. It's directed. It's the fire that burns steadily, not wildly. In silence, you tame your anger. You sharpen it. You turn it into a weapon that strikes only when needed. Anger is powerful, yes, but uncontrolled anger, it's reckless. It's destructive. It's a storm that consumes everything in its path, including the one who wields it. But controlled anger, controlled aggression, that's a different beast. It's a blade honed to perfection. It's a punch that lands with precision. It's a strategy that breaks through defenses without hesitation. Think about a lion, the king of the jungle. Does the lion roar before it hunts? Does it announce its presence to the prey? No. It moves silently. It stalks. It waits. It observes. And then, when the moment is right, it pounces. That's power. That's control. That's the strength of silence. And you can harness it too.